Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Shadis, and today we are doing the splitter install for the N Line. Let's get straight into it. So a few things to get off the list is it is very hot today, so your boy's going to be looking like crap. Number two, I am cameraless for the next few weeks. Your boy's in the process of upgrading, which means better quality content for the channel. However, today we are recording on my GoPro, so with that in mind, the audio might be jank. I may have to do some voiceover recording depending on how it comes out. Also, you're going to notice that most everything's going to kind of have this wide angle because, of course, that's how the GoPro is equipped. That's how they're made, so I can't really control that, but I'm going to do my best to take all the footage possible to show this as best as I can. And like I said, if the audio is jank, then I'll just make sure to essentially do like voiceover recording. So with that being said, let's get straight into this one. There are a few things that I do kind of want to notate that I may not have mentioned on the prior install for the Veloster, so I'll make sure to note those as well as we go. So first things first, I'm going to get some of the obvious things out of the way because we're going to have to remove the bumper. So as you can see, there's two clips here, a clip here, a clip here. There's a bolt right there. And then if we work our way, this scoop is easily removable. I've done it before, so you'll see that. A clip here, 1, 2, 3 clips here, and then another bolt. And then of course there's the underliner portion that we'll take out. You shouldn't have to remove the headlights because as you can see, the bumper is straight here, but we will have to remove the daytime running lights, the little ambers, and that's about it. These vents are built in, so there's nothing there. On this particular one, we will have to be careful with the brackets that I have already for the splitter. All right, so quick update. We've already removed the clips and the bolts, but as you can see, the actual daytime running light that's built in, the chrome strip, has been removed. If I recall correctly, I'm sure there's a way to disconnect it, but at the time of making this video, it was actually just easier to remove the trim. So once you get to this point, open the door to make sure you don't damage it. And then of course, remember to disconnect. There was only one bolt, which I'll show you on the other side where it's at. So the bolt is quite literally over here. You remove it, and then you just essentially wiggle it out, and it literally just pops right off. And then of course, make sure to disconnect it, and then open your door before you remove it. All right, sorry, forgive me, I'm a mess. It's hot, it's humid. But one thing that I want to mention is I said that once you remove the clips from the inner wheel well, that's it. That's it for my car because I've had a previous, I had a splitter on previously. So essentially you have to remember that these cars come with a very long under tray that covers the whole engine, almost all the way back to actually I think all the transmission as well. So you will have to get underneath and make sure that you unclip those as well. There might be a few bolts there as well. I unfortunately cannot show that part, but it should be very straightforward. You'll see a clip, you'll see screws, bolts I mean, so just make sure to remove those. Have 10mm, 11, 12, whatever on hand just to be safe. The other thing, which I'm going to show you the bumper, is there's a sensor connector that has to be taken into consideration. So again, you pull the bumper, there's clips, which I'll show as well. Those will obviously make some very loud sounds once you first remove them. And then essentially just remember the sensor. So let me show you. So the sensor is actually on the driver hand side. It's this. This is the only thing. And so essentially I'm going to show you on the car, but it's this connector right here. And as you can see, you can just easily disconnect it. You can hang it there. Also, here's the clips where it clips underneath the headlight all the way to the side. So again, you're just gonna hear lots of loud clicks, pull it off, and then you're all set. And then your boy has the extra supports for the splitter, but you shouldn't have those, so yeah. All right, so we're over here on the table. And so one thing I do want to apologize to Street Aero, even though I know I corrected it in text, is I called this like a thick plastic for the splitter. I stand corrected, it is an aluminum composite material. So if you know anything about aluminum, you should know that it's obviously lightweight in some instances and can be very durable. And honestly, it's pretty, it's durable, it's thick, It is a little heavier than others, again, because it's not carbon fiber or anything like that. But it's been daily driven on the Veloster since last I made this video, and it hasn't had any issues on that. So these things will definitely withstand the test of time. However, because of the added weight, depending on your vehicle, like I mentioned on the Veloster video, you may want to find a few extra mounting points if possible. Fortunately, the Sonata, like I said, has a complete big undercarriage, the whole like undercarriage tray. So we might be able to put some reinforcements going to the lower chassis. So we're gonna look into that and of course show you. But let's try to get this lined up and figure out where to bolt it onto the bumper first. You guys want to laugh at something? So earlier I said disconnect your little DRLs, but you don't need to. They're not actually wires connected to anywhere on the actual frame. They're connected all to one big harness, which is this big connector. So see, it goes straight here. So like realistically, this is the only thing you need to disconnect. You don't even have to worry about these. So hey, the more you know. Anyways, we're essentially using some of the holes that are already on this, that quite literally that undercarriage gets mounted to. For the fronts though, considering there's a gap, I'm guessing we may have to drill into the actual bumper, but we'll see. All right, so an update and just something to let you guys know. So the holes have already been drilled into the splitter to basically mount it to the bumper. That's not an issue. The one thing that I'm running into is that my biggest complaint about the previous splitter was that it covered so far back, which was a great design if you want functionality. But the downside was that it covered up ports where daily use, for example, for maintenance, would normally be. So like where you would actually find the drain plug, where you could get to the oil filter. So these are things that I addressed with Street Aero when they were making the splitter for this vehicle. The only problem that that brings up is that quite literally, because it doesn't go far back enough, there are no mounting points to the actual chassis, or this for that matter. Now, that's not necessarily a huge throwaway if you're comfortable enough buying longer studs, for example, and drilling into like framework. You can. In my particular situation, we have fortunately these splitter rods, so that's what basically I'm going to be using for extra support. You may want to look into doing something similar in the process, again, if you're concerned about weight. Otherwise, I mean, I guess once we bolt it on, we'll see. I'm sure it'll be sturdy enough, because underneath each headlight there's 4 clips, and then there's 4 clips back here, and then of course you have the fender liner. You would also have the undercarriage tray, which that actually does get bolted to the chassis, but remember, it's very like thin, kind of like cardboard material, so don't expect it to give you a lot of support when it comes to supporting a splitter. But again, you could use that as well. I don't have that, but obviously in place I have the splitter rod supports, so that's what your boy's going to be going with. But again, just full disclosure, being transparent. All right, you're probably wondering why I'm showing you this. So because we did have to do some little modifications to the hardware. So the hardware kit that comes with the splitter are these, as you can see. This one is completely naked. This is with the dress-on washer and the inner washer. For some parts on the Sonata bumper, specifically I'll show you right now, there's like a raised black area. We actually went with slightly longer ones, as you can see, because otherwise I don't think these would have reached. We'll double check to test that theory, but we're gonna go with these slightly longer ones. And then on the Veloster, when we got to the actual chassis, we needed much longer, which is something like this. You might actually need something similar if you can basically manage to like go into the frame, because as you can see, let me show you. As you can see, the splitter is going to be at this height, right where I'm here. So if you go over, it's quite a distance from something like this. So if you add extra supports to actual like the chassis or something like that, you're definitely going to want to use something longer. So again, just giving you all the information as much as I can. All right, so it's almost fully mounted with all the drilled holes and everything. There's 2 on the side. We're doing 2 in the center. So there's one thing I want to show you, and the reason why I'm filming the front. So I just want to demonstrate that this is sitting really flush. There's no bending. You don't see any problems. So the reason why I'm addressing that is going back to that whole longer bolts thing is, whoops, as you can see, this one's got quite a bit of thread coming out, right? But if you look to that one, and it's kind of a tight fit, you can see that it doesn't really have as much excess thread. And also you can see that it's essentially bending the inner plastic. It's bowing it a bit, which again, isn't a problem. It's not breaking anything, but if you don't want that, you may just have to buy slightly longer bolts. Again, it's not a problem, so that's good to know that you can still use the hardware that came with the splitter, and you will be A-OK. So we just installed this one that's closer to the center, and you can see again, there's barely any threads. So this was actually using the longer one. So for these ones in the center, I would actually advise getting longer ones, just because if you used these shorter ones, the ones that come with the actual kit, you may actually get it to work, but you're probably just barely going to be biting on threads. And while I'm sure like it'll stay steady, there shouldn't be a problem. If you're as paranoid as I am, you want to make sure that it's not going to come loose. So again, in our install for just those two center ones, we're going with slightly longer bolts. This is still the hardware included. This is still the hardware included, and this is still the hardware included. So yeah, we're gonna finish up the other side now that, you know, I've already demonstrated some of the things that we had to kind of adjust, and then we're gonna mount it back up. All right, so it is installed, and actually, without any kind of supports, it's sturdy, so it's not going anywhere. I am slightly concerned that there might be some vibration. Hopefully not, because the wind is going, so it should actually not cause a problem. Obviously, we're going to be lower to the ground, so I'll let you know. I'm praying that it doesn't cause sound, because then that's going to suck. That means we're definitely going to have to get a new underliner. But I'm just kind of walking around before we clip the clips on the side. So if you don't remember, there's a bolt here, there's a clip here, there's a clip right here, and then one down here. My other side is broken, so I can't really show you where those clips are, but everything is pretty much held on just by the clips here and the clips underneath each headlight. But doing a walk around, this one again does not have any of the, oh, lots of people looking at stuff. Does not have the winglets that the Veloster one had. So again, that's kind of a little caveat. Next thing is, now that it's mounted, because I have them, we're gonna try to do the splitter rods, get those installed, see where we drill, and finish this up. Oh, and of course clip everything back up here. Okie dokie, so I'm underneath it just because I want to show you that it's actually done really well. Oh, I never noticed this. Designed and made by Aero in California. How neat. Anyways, everything's bolted on. Here, you would normally have an under tray covering all of this, all the way to the back. So essentially, the good news is that there will still be access to the important bits. So they didn't make it so long. For example, it doesn't go all the way here, that it's covering that. So if any technicians need to get under here, they're not going to complain. Here's your oil drain plug. And then of course, here's the transmission stuff. I want to say that's the drain, but I could be wrong because I don't do my own transmission stuff, sorry. And then of course from here, it should be easy to, I'm actually not aware where the oil, I actually don't know where the oil filter is, but anyways, you get what I'm saying. You can access things, you can do what you need to do. You may want to, I've seen people do this with splitters where they do like a little connecting, like just like metal rod and then like bolt it to like the subframe. So hopefully I won't need to do that in the future. If I do, I'll let you guys know, but let's finish the install. And voila, the install is done. Again, we just need to put the clips and lower the car, but this is probably the best angle to provide you so you guys can see the finished product. Splitter rods are installed to the frame support here. So I'm just gonna walk around. Again, this model is not one with winglets. They will be adding winglets to be added afterward. If you're wondering why this isn't all the way back, it's just because, as you can see, it's a straight cut. It doesn't bend, and this is actually exactly where the bolt starts. So we essentially just did that to allow a little bit of just room to make sure like things don't rub. And so, woo. Same thing here, as you can see. So we're all set. We're just gonna lower this and then get one last video to see what it looks like once it's on the floor. All right, boys, and just like that, it is complete, and oh my goodness, look how good it looks. Josh did us a favor and got us some black vinyl to cover up the little bolting marks on the splitters, so it's just blacked out. You no longer see the bolts to make adjustments to it, and I'm just panning around. Again, my car's lowered, so it's looking really aggressive. Splitter rods. Ooh. This thing looks so mean. Alright guys, so we're back at home base. I'm just going to make this quick summary video. I've had that splitter installed now for quite a few months. The car is daily driven, so I drive it to and from work to run errands and all sorts of things, and the splitter is still doing a phenomenal job. Definitely has withstood the test of time. Now, one last thing I do want to address for transparency is that I don't have the under tray, so I did comment that you shouldn't have any issues with vibration or anything like that if you're mounting some of the splitter, the rear end, to the under tray. Because I don't have that, I did actually end up using and making some brackets to basically add additional support from the rear of the splitter to the chassis that I was originally showing, that bar. And that was just something that I wanted to do because, like I said, I no longer have the under tray. So if any of you guys are interested in kind of seeing what I did, I can make a short video on that and upload it for those of you that want added support and maybe in my similar situation where you don't have the under tray. Otherwise, the product is phenomenal. If you still have the things that your car should come with, then that shouldn't be an issue. It is a phenomenal product. Like I said, I haven't had any problems. I've even, ran into things on the highway, and it is just still standing, no damage, no chips, no nothing. It's just amazing overall, and it is functional. Again, it is a functional splitter. It may not go all the way back, but again, if you have an under tray, it's going to do its job anyways. So once again, huge thanks to Aero for helping us out with this, and of course making a product for the N Line. I greatly appreciate the fact that I had the opportunity to help and have my vehicle as a test bed to make this for all the N Lines out there. And if you decide to ask if this would be functional for the refresh of the N Line, the new facelift, it should honestly work and fit just as well. But again, just make sure that that's kind of at your own risk because the body lines are a little bit different. One thing you may have noticed is that it's got those little like teeth marks, so it comes out and it points out and then kind of comes in. So that again is following the bumper line of the original N Line for the Sonata. The refresh, I believe, does not have those little points. So again, you're still going to have those, obviously, if you decide to equip this for that specific model vehicle. But I don't think it's going to look bad. I don't really think it's going to be an issue. But again, I figured I would address that if that was a question you might have. But guys, that wraps things up. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for all the love and support. Sorry for the delays. We got more stuff coming, so stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Let us proceed with the first song.